Hey guys, it's Supernova coming in. Today we're going to be discussing how to play heavy tanks on Ruinberg. I'm going to go through and discuss the north side of spawn, and we're going to be discussing the south side of spawn, and I'm going to be covering the angles in which you can shoot people at and when you need to be leaving positions, and hopefully this will help a lot of you out there who are new to the game. Alright, so moving to the north side of Ruinberg, we're going to look at the 1-2 line first. So with the heavy tanks, you can see that I have already placed them where most typically heavies will go. Now, let's talk about this position right here, okay? This position, it's good because you can hold this angle. So if the enemies decide to push up here, you're able to kind of hold in this haul down position. And in that position, you're able to just lock this area down. And what this representing with the arrow is, and with all these things, is, you know, the angles in which you're shooting, or you can move up, right? So you're locking down this lane. Moving over to this position, I feel like this is a more standard position that people are used to playing. You just come here and you're looking for shots into this area, and you're also looking for shots into this area because some heavy tanks will push up and play aggressively here. And then you can also look for shots here. With the position up here, you can shoot here, and you're also looking for this primarily. You're trying to shoot these guys when they overextend, trying to shoot into the guys that are playing this position. And with this guy over here, I really just find it really strong to be able to lock this stuff down. And what it also allows me to do is kind of just rotate in between from this position and going to here. And so it kind of allows me to swap. The most important thing is just knowing when to fall back from these positions. So for instance, on this side, you just need to know, like, when here, if this guy maybe dies or maybe this guy dies, and you can see that these guys are pushing up, you might need to fall back because you need to be playing more passively, so that you can either one, contest the guys that are pushing on this side, or two, just fall back so you're playing safe from anyone who's trying to push up into you like this. For these two positions, it kind of goes the same way. It really depends on whether or not you're losing this flank. These positions are a lot safer than this position, because this is a alley in which you can get flanked from this area, and you can also get flanked from this, and you can get flanked from just pushing this. But here, what this is, it's a strong position, because when they come like this, well, you can shoot them from this position, and it's not like they can just come and get in your face really fast. And the same concept goes for the guy that's playing in this position. So these guys are able to fall back, maybe back here, or even farther. They're also able to just rotate out like this. Now when you cross, though, you have to be careful of enemy fire from this general area. Now this position, I mean, it's really easy. I really find this position more of a let's set up, let's hold for a second, and let's see how the match is progressing, and then we can always push up. And then when you push up, most people will push up from here, and then from there, that's when you're kind of falling back to this position. But I still find that this is a really, really strong way to set up initially, just to see how the team is playing out based on like what's coming over here. Okay, so right here we're going to talk about the E1 position, and I'm also going to show you the other position on E1. So with this position, what it allows me to do is it allows me to hold this angle. And as you can see, I can look down, and what I can also do, if I know that no one's here, I can poke just a little bit, and I'm able to shoot right here. And if there's no one in those two positions, I can also poke out wide and potentially shoot these guys or these guys, but it's just situational on when you can do that. Now, what I can also do is I can rotate from this position, and I can rotate over here, and I can drive up here, and again, I'm just going to be playing this position. I can play haul down for the most part, so they're not going to be able to actually shoot me unless they're shooting in the turret. I can shoot anyone that's poking and overextending here, and if there's no one poking, I can even extend a little bit further and look for shots here. And again, I can also look a little bit wider and shoot this area. So two very strong positions, but you have to use them at certain times. Now, the other position we were talking about was pushing up here to this corner. Now, this position gets you into a very aggressive position. You can poke out, you can shoot this area, and you can also poke out wide and poke out and shoot anyone that potentially is shooting right here, looking down the middle, or maybe they're just pushed up and you're trying to contest them because they shot you. Now we're gonna look north 9-0. Now this is really where you want to be going to these positions if you're playing a fast tank. And we're also going to talk about middle while we're talking about 9-0. So for 9-0, I really find it to be more of there's only 2 common places you can go, because I call this like the small little village. You can go over here into the 9-0 and you can play these, and with this position, you have angles to shoot down this lane. You have this little crack here to shoot down, and let me make this smaller. You can shoot through these cracks like this. And then you can also play here, which is really common place where people will play. And this position allows you to shoot people that are coming middle. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when you come play this position, you can come to these lanes. And with how the terrain works over here, if someone is trying to drive across or like drive across like this, you get free shots. And especially if you're in a fast enough, like if you're in like an autoloader heavy, you can maybe put one shot into this gap. And then when he comes into this next gap, all you have to do is pull forward and you can shoot another shot. And then boom, you got 2 shots off for free. And you can just back up and play safe using this building and this building. Speaking about middle, so coming from the north, it's typically that you're just going to come middle and you're going to come play these cubbies because you're looking to get safe from anything that might be poking here, or maybe someone's trying to drive across and come here. Now, if you're coming middle and you don't find anything and nothing's coming there, what you can do is you can drive up here, and this is just kind of a safe way to play middle. There's not really a big strategical reason to play this other than maybe like, you know, if the guy that's pushing you, you can easily beat him in a brawl. You can come brawl him and you can win this position so that your team doesn't have to worry about this position if they're playing out here. But it's a really good position to kind of set up where you can kind of poke shots here occasionally. And what it allows you to do is it actually allows you to leave and rotate back over here, where if you commit middle, if someone's just staying here and staring you down, you can't just run away without taking damage. And even then, when you run away, you're gonna have to run away like this, and then these players that here or maybe here, they'll get a shot onto you. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about taking the middle. So if you're in a fast tank, and for my example, it's going to be 277. What you're able to do is you're able to just push straight up the middle. And what you want to do is you're just coming up. I like to make sure I have AP loaded or something, because those objects in front of me are not going to allow me to shoot through them with heat rounds. So I'm going to be pushing up. I want to play aggressive and not stop anywhere. If I'm looking to take, if no one comes middle and I'm looking, I want to push up here and I want to take this position. And when I get up here, what it allows me to do, it has the elevation for me to shoot here, and it also allows me to shoot into this area. Now, look at how I'm doing this, right? I am overextending my tank into the open, but most people don't expect you to do this. So it gives you an opportunity to get free shots. If you time it right, you poke out and you back up fast. And when you get into this position, if someone is contesting you, maybe it's a medium or something, you can potentially just brawl them here and you can play safe. So it basically is a 1v1, because what you can do is you can block the entrance, and if he's in front of you, now he can't drive around you, and no one else can shoot you. Now, what you can also do, instead of doing that, you can just strictly just push straight across. Now, some people stop here, and I think that's a huge mistake. I think you should drive here, right? Now, right here, you're set up, right? You take the time and you look and you see what's going on, right? Because maybe there's someone poking over here, right? Or maybe you can look for shots over here and see if someone's crossing, you can shoot them there. Or what you can also do, you can just simply look up here and you can look for shots here. Again, you're overexposing yourself, so usually I just play this safe. I wait a little bit, I look for some free shots, and then maybe I start slowly creeping up and playing this position if it allows me to. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to be taking 9-0. So if you're spawning from here, we're just going to drive up. I typically like to go a little bit wide. So usually it's just, instead of driving straight up, I just drive kind of in between this, and I kind of drive in between this. And what this does is it allows me to kind of look for shots middle, but at the same time, I'm getting to this cover, to this ridge in which they can't shoot me. And sometimes you can stop here and maybe play safe for a second, or maybe stop and look for a shot. And so I'm going to immediately drive up, and I'm going to just start cutting in because I'm looking to get to this building fast, especially if I'm spotted. Now from here, I just want to take a second and you see how I'm just using my third person and I'm visually looking for shots here. Okay, so if I see someone on the minimap get spotted and maybe they're going to push up, maybe I'll take a shot here. What I can also do is if I get to this position and there's someone still trying to take middle, I can look and get shots, and I can also drive up closer, and this will allow me to kind of get up higher so that this ridge doesn't block my shots because I'm playing farther back. What I can also do afterwards, if their tanks are still trying to push up and maybe you see someone starting to look to cross to the 9-0, what I can do is I can come look over here. I can put my first shot here, boom, when he's pushing into the open, right? And then while I'm reloading, and potentially I can get another shot here if he crosses. And this is really works for like autoloaders. You know, you put your first shot in and then he's still crossing, you put a second shot here. And then what I'm also going to show you is the 0 line position. Now, normally when I come to this position, I would drive from here and I'd be driving like this, and I'd come right here. And then I'm just looking to play this area. I can maybe side scrape. I can play even more aggressive if you know what you're doing in this situation. But really, it's just playing this area. So like right here, boom, I can shoot right here, right? Like boom, I can shoot down this lane if something gets spotted. And what I can also do is I can play a little bit more passively. And I can play right here, and I can use this building right here to protect me from anything over there. And I can shoot right here, boom, and I can also shoot right here, boom. And then if anyone pokes in these little alleys right here, I can shoot them right here, and I can also just poke up and shoot them here. Now, what I like about this position is what it also gives me is this third lane to shoot through. So if I back up just enough, I can shoot, boom, right here. And if you see, there's this little gap that you can shoot through. And if someone makes a mistake backing up, boom, you punish them for it. And then if I back up just a little bit more, I can shoot through this gap. And then if they realize that, all I have to do is back up, and I'm using this building to protect me. And then again, with this building, boom, I can poke up and I can shoot this, and I can shoot through that gap, and then I can always back up and shoot that gap without having to be concerned about those players. Alrighty, so now with the south, we're going to be discussing the 1-2 line. So the 1-2 line, I mean, it's basically a replica of the other side, other than the fact that you can play more positions more aggressively. Now, what I mean by that is, for this position, right here, you can play here, and you can see this area and when they're poking, right? And you know, you can get free shots, and then you can always push up, but it's a lot easier on this side, because it's just right here, and like right here there's this angle, and then like it's not as clear, right? Like if you draw a line like this, you can't just see straight into the next corner. But for this side, you just have a clear vision right here. So it has, south side has its advantages, whereas north side, I mean, it has its advantages as well. So with this position here, now I think it's a good idea for everyone to come here, all right? I think it's a great idea for you to come here, and you can look for shots here. And what that allows you to do is get free damage without even exposing yourself to anyone. Unless you get spotted here, and when you get spotted here, I mean, all you have to do is back up, and you have to be careful. But if you're paying attention to when these guys are shooting, or maybe when these guys aren't paying attention, you can just poke out and get free shots. You can also get shots when they try to take middle control. Now, what this position does is it allows you to kind of set up a little bit passively, and it allows you to be able to push up to this next area if you want to take this brawl, right? But for me, I always like to set up, look for bleed, and then be able to have options options and opportunities is what's going to win you battles. Having the opportunity to leave a position and not overcommit is so powerful in this game because it allows you to go do something else. I'm like, if I want to, I can go rotate all the way up north and we can go play these north positions, which we'll discuss later. Now, this position right here, you know, it's a pretty solid position. Now, I wouldn't say go there every game. I would say it's more of a situational position, right? Like, say you're losing a brawl, or maybe these guys start to push up and you're playing like right here or something, and like you think you need to fall back. Well, I don't think you should stay here. I think you should come over here and play here. There's a bush here, so it allows you to shoot this angle and it allows you to shoot this angle. And when you shoot those angles, you can back up. Where if you're playing here, you can still shoot them when they're coming out, but when you back up, and if you want to say, let's say you want to drive away and you want to go like this, right? Well, then they will have a shot right here. But if you're right here and you have a shot, you can back off and you can use this building long enough, because most people, they won't just drive like this, right? They're going to push up and they're going to push up here. This is the primary like staging area, I would say, most players will go to, just because it's common positions. And with this position, you can just back up, and using this building, you can drive like this and you can come and play even more defensively, right? And I mean, it's also based on how your team is. If you have a teammate here and you're here, and maybe you have someone here and you know that, or like someone here and you know that they're going to be pushing you soon. Well, if you play this building and you stay here, and when these guys come here and they're looking for shots on this guy, well, you can just poke out and shoot for free. This guy, I mean, really, it's just looking for shots here. You can come play these windows here and like this little gap, and you can shoot this, but it's really dependent on when these guys fire, right? So like if there's someone playing here and these guys fire, or like this guy fires and these guys come and overextend, poke out and get shots on him, well, then you can poke out here, or even here if there's no one watching here. Okay guys, so with the south, I typically will go here, maybe later in the game if I think that their heavies are trying to push this area. And this is a very strong position to be able to shoot, and you're pretty much all down and safe, and you can back up, and then you can just pull forward when you're ready to reload. The other positions that are really common are coming up here. Now, what I'm trying to show is like the importance. I don't think pushing up to that position at the beginning of the game should be your go-to. I think coming right here and looking for shots in this general area is a very good idea. You can also shoot people here. Once you're done, you can shoot people here if they're overextending, and you can also shoot them there if they're overextending, and then all you have to do is back up and play hold down. And then later in the game, you can push up and play aggressively. I just don't think it's important to go there immediately. The only time I think you can go there is if you're top tier and you're in a 3-5-7 format, which favors you, because that means you're top tier and you can play aggressive, and you're not too concerned about playing against 15 of the same tier tanks as you, because you can't just bully them as easily. Now this is the other position I was talking about. I like this position maybe later in the game, or maybe at the beginning too. You can come here and you can just get a shot, maybe if someone's poking early, or maybe someone's poking up here, and then you can just back off. And with this position, I mean, if they push up, you can shoot them here if they're not paying attention, and maybe if someone's pushing up there, you can shoot them as well. Moving over to this position. So for this position, it's really good for being hauled down and being able to lock down this guy. And what you can also do is when that guy's not paying attention, you can poke out wide and you can shoot these guys if they're pushed up a little bit, and you can also shoot this guy if he's overextending. And that's a really strong position if you're just trying to play slow and you're not trying to bleed too aggressive. And then what you can also do is you can come here, you can shoot this area, and you can even poke out a little bit like this, and you can shoot this area if they're deciding to push up and you're just looking to get a quick shot, if you can't poke from this area because someone is holding that position. Okay, so let's talk about the South 9-0. Now, I typically don't go here unless I'm in a super fast tank and maybe they don't have maybe they're more heavy on the other side, but you're still able to do this with a good variety of tanks. You just need to understand the enemy comp on the other side. So middle and 9-0 on this map. This map has a better positioning for middle because of this right here. You have this little gap right here, and you also have this right here, which is very powerful. Now what this allows you to do is just drive up here and just contest anything in the middle or shoot anything here, right? It also allows you to come over here and shoot over here if people are overextending. The other thing is you come drive middle, and if you're fast enough and you can get there and you know the enemy team is going to be committing a lot, or at least you know if you go there, you can go and get into this cubby and get safe, and maybe the other tank that pushes middle, you can contest and actually out brawl him. It allows you to poke up, get shots here, and it also allows you to spot this area. Now, on the 9-0, again, it's kind of the same way as the north side. You play this area, and this allows you to shoot here, just like this side allowed you to shoot like this, and then the same concept with these windows. Because there's not a dip or anything here, or any high elevating terrain that blocks shots, you can come here and you can shoot the guys through these gaps. And what is so important about knowing this information is that if you're trying to win the town, and I call this a small village, if you're trying to win the small village, you're able to get the shots that maybe the other player doesn't know about, and that will put you in a huge advantage. And again, on the 0 line, both sides have these little back parts right here, and having a heavy that comes here, and if you have any TD, because sometimes TD is like setting up. Well, if you come here and you set up in a TD, or you have a TD supporting you or something, and you're heavy, you're allowed to like kind of side scrape off this building. And again, you have these little alleys that you can shoot through, right? And this, like, you have these lanes right here. And then even then, if you pull up just enough, you can even shoot like here, you can shoot through these gaps. It's really just learning these positions and knowing when you need to be poking, when you need to be playing defensive. And again, it's just all about angles in this little village, and experience is what teaches you this. Okay, so coming down mid, you have a couple options here for the south side. We're gonna focus on these positions first, and then we'll talk about going to the middle. We're gonna be coming right here, and what this is, I can play hold down and just shoot right here. Boom. I can also shoot anything that might get spotted by a light tank for the back. And once I'm kind of done with this position for shooting either here or here, I can always move up to these windows and even get better shots. But what I also can do is I can come up here and look for shots right here. And I can also use the windows to kind of play safe with, to look for shots. I can come up here. Now, this is the tricky part, right? Knowing if there's TDs back there. But what you can do is you can drive up and you can get the elevation to shoot up here. And I think you might be able to shoot through some of these cracks, given the specific situation like this, for instance, right? Like maybe there's a light tank that's doing a route, or maybe just someone gets spotted and you don't want to like poke out here. You can just shoot through this gap. Now, the other position is going over here. Now, I typically don't go in this position in pubs, but I want you guys to know about this position. You can play haul down, you can look for shots. I think this is more one of those positions where it's very situational, and it's also just maybe early shots, and then you might rotate out and come over here. Now, going straight down the middle, typically in a fast heavy, I'm gonna go straight up here. I don't tend to go over here. I don't think that's the purpose of going to the middle when you're deciding to go in the middle with a fast heavy. I typically think it's, you know, coming here and looking for shots. Boom, boom. And if someone's contesting you, kind of like earlier, you're just going to try to block them so that they can't get around you, and it's only a 1v1. And then from there, you're just progressing on how the match is being played out. Maybe you're coming over here looking for shots. Maybe you're just coming out here and you're looking for shots this way. But typically, it's just based on how the match is going to be played out. Okay, so again, we're driving up to this position on this side of south spawn. We're going to be driving up to this position. Now, with this position, if you're in a fast tank, you can come over here, you can side scrape, look for shots, boom. What you can also do is you can come to the second alley over here, boom, you have shots right here. Alright, you got to be aware that you can shoot someone right here. So if someone's maybe crossing across to get to 9-0, you can put a pop shot through this gap. And then if someone's poking out, you can get little baby shot here. It just depends if they're poking out. Obviously if they're poking out this far, it should be a super easy shot, but if they're not, it might be a slim shot. And then you can just poke out and you can shoot through this lane. Now with this lane, it's kind of hard. You have to kind of drive like this and to shoot down if you wanted to shoot all the way down to this last position right there. Okay. And now with this side, again, it allows you to shoot over here. So again, I can shoot shots in this position, and I can also shoot shots through this gap. Now it's not a clear shot through this gap, but if someone's poking through that gap, I can shoot them. And I don't have to be poking out like that. I can just side scrape. I just have to side scrape a little bit more. So I'd have to come up and I'd have to side scrape like that. And that way I'm not exposing myself to anything that might be in those positions over there. Moving over to the position at F8 or F9, F8. All right. So you're driving up here. You want to come and you want to take this position, right? And what this allows you to do is play hollow down and shoot the middle. What you can also do is you can extend yourself over here if you wanted to shoot. I don't really do it because of the TDs, but it is an option. What I primarily use this position for is, again, looking for shots, and then I'll turn around. And then I'll just be looking through this little gap. So like with this little gap, I can shoot through that. I can shoot straight through this lane. Now, it's very difficult to tell, but there's one building here and there's one building here. But you can shoot through this gap right there. And so I just shoot through that. And usually I just kind of predict / use the highlight of the tank to know that I'm actually going to hit them. And I can poke out a little bit more and use this gap and shoot through this lane. And then I can also shoot here. Okay, and so if someone's crossing, I maybe get one shot here and maybe get another shot if they're going to this position. Usually it's not likely, but you can also do cheeky little shots through this little gap too. All right, and that's how I like playing this position.